Hi, good afternoon. My name is Matthew Augustine, and welcome to Literature with Austin. Today, we'll be looking at another song written by Taylor Swift titled Would Have, Could Have, and Should Have. As usual, we're not actually going to go like head on. We just want to try to figure out what Taylor was trying to say in this song, and who knows, we'll be able to find some fun literary devices that Taylor used in this song. So let's get started. So from the or without even doing much, I love the title. Like already, I love the title because of would and should and could. For one thing, they are all in past tense. I would have done this. I would have. I could have. I should have. And it's all past tense, kind of reminiscing about what I could have done or what I should have done or what I would have done if so and so were in place. That's just what the title kind of reminds me of. I could have, I should have, I would have, if given certain circumstances, I could have done better. So let's get started. If you would have blinked, then I would have looked away at the first glance. If you tasted poison, you could have spit me out at the first chance. And if I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man? And if I was a child, did it matter if you got to wash your hand? So let's stop and talk. Again, like I said, still going back to the title, the speaker is kind of reminiscing. If you had done this, I could have. If you had done this, I would have. I could have. And I love the fact that if you would have blinked, then I would have looked away. Looked away at the first glance. And I love that. It gives it's setting it, or it feels as if the speaker will probably you have someone watching, or his eyes fixed on the speaker, like doesn't want to let the speaker go, and and two of them are staring at each other head on. And the moment that the other person blinks, if you blink, the moment you blink, I would have just turned away, like get out of your sight. Get out of your sight, kind of giving this, I would say this hostile, is it hostile? I'm not sure if it's hostile, but it's giving this feeling of being watched, being in a cage, being prisoned. And I love that if you tasted poison, you could have spit me out at the first chance. It reminds me of this Bible verse in, I think, in Revelation, where Christ spat out one of the churches. And what was the reason why he spat out the churches? Because one of them was lukewarm. And so it kind of gives this feeling, you are eating something, and then the moment you tasted poison, you would have spat it out. If the poison was not there, you would have continued to eat and continue to enjoy and everything. But the moment you tasted poison, the moment you couldn't, you noticed my bad habit or my bad side, you cut me off. You removed, that kind of thing. If if you had tasted poison, you would have not been with me. If you had seen my bad side, you wouldn't have likely, been with me. Let's continue. So again, she said, if I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man? I love that question, that rhetorical question. If I was some paint, did it splatter on a promising grown man? When the first time I actually listened to this music, I was quite intrigued by that line. What does it mean when she said, "I if I was paint"? This splatter on a promising grown man. When paint pours on the floor, especially if you didn't actually plan for the paint to be there, it's even that splatter, it also goes and affects everywhere, and destroys everything, and makes everywhere so uncomfortable. Also, a chaos of colors, and just like this picture that we see here, chaotic colors that we can sometimes can be artistic, but most of the time it's rare. It's not normal if it turns out to be artistic. And she said that if I was some paint, did it splatter? If I was, my does my activity, affect everybody? Is my activity affecting you, and especially on you, who is the promising, who is the grown man? I don't know that grown, the fact that she used grown and man is, for me, it's a bit redundant, because a man is already grown up too. Did my activities affect you, who turns out to be, a promising grown man? And again, I don't know, I don't think we're looking at some of the fun literary devices that Taylor used a lot of. So far, she has been using rhyming. We have if, then, I would have, I could have, glance, chance, splatter, matter, man, hands. Taylor's good at this. Most of the times, I don't know, I kind of forget to talk about it, but yeah, Taylor's using a lot of, you know, rhyming, and even self. Okay, so again, if I was a child, did it matter if I got to wash my hand? If I was a child, did it matter if I got to wash my hand? Again, reminds me of, again, again. I want to talk your, washing your hand. You're getting your hand clean. You're cleansing your hand from the paints that, splattered everywhere. And if I was a child, again, a child is someone who is, and I love that contrast between, the fact that she's saying that you that I'm speaking to, you are a promising grown man, but me, if I was a child, did it matter if all this stuff, happened to you, my activities? Again, children are known to be very destructive and affect people in a variety of ways. Sometimes can be very, I would say, very annoying. Very annoying. Some children can be that very annoying. And so she's saying that, if I was a child, does it matter that, again, try and imagine if a child had paint, the child mistakenly had paint on his hand. If it was an adult will know, you shouldn't touch everywhere. You should be careful with what you're touching. But a child, he may not know that. He will tell to go ahead and, touch and touch and touch and touch and stain everywhere. You know. So Taylor is saying that, if I was a child, did it matter if I got to wash my hand? Of course, it matters that you should wash your hand. It matters that, you're affecting everybody, even if, if you are a child. So let's continue going. And I love the again, she's comparing herself to a child. I love that comparison. She comparing herself to a child, the activities of how a child behave. And she didn't even use like or as to term that to be a metaphor. If I was a child, she could have said if I was like a child. You know, very fun, very beautiful, very interesting. So let's keep going. Oh, all I used to do was pray. Would have, could have, should have. If you'd never looked my way, I would have stayed on my knees, and I would have stayed on my knees, and I'm damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapon. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. So let's talk. Okay, so again, let's start with this verse. I'm not even sure why I read three verses at once, but let's start with this verse where she said, "Oh, all I used to do was pray. Would have, could have, should have. If you'd never looked my way." I love. Okay, first of all, I like that. At first, Taylor in the first verse, Taylor said that, you looked my way. Like, if you had blinked your eyes, I would have turned away. But now Taylor is saying, I prayed that you never even looked at me. I prayed that I never caught your attention. So, if you'd never looked my way, if you'd never looked I prayed, would have, could have. All I had to do was pray. I wish you never noticed me. I wish you never looked at me. That kind of stuff. And again, she even says, I would have stayed on my knees. You prayed when you're praying your knees literally, like you go on your knees to pray. So he said, I am this. I would have stayed on my knees, and I'm damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. I loved, when this song newly came out. For some odd reason, I thought that this was actually and Redemption would have never danced with the devil, and it was for a while. I actually carried that, lyrics, all over the film. I think I saw it in a Facebook post that it's not actually and Redemption would have never danced with the devil, but it is. I am damn sure that I would have never danced with the devil Again, what do you think the devil represented? For me, the devil represented whoever the speaker is saying. I would have never danced with the devil. Again, when you dance with someone, you kind of, you are trying to interact with the person. You like someone. If you dance with someone, at least in most I don't know what to call it. Most of these movies and and all those stuff, dancing with someone simply means you like the person. You trust the person, kind of. You dance with the person. You dance with people that you love. And she's saying that if you never looked my name, if you had never looked at me, I'm sure I would have never danced with the devil again. Like I said, for me, the devil represented whoever the speaker is talking about, or whoever is speaking, or whoever the speaker said that I wish you never looked at me. I wish that if you blinked your eyes, I would have turned away and all those stuff. So I would have never danced with the devil if you never looked at me. And I love that comparison that she used. She compared herself, or she compared whoever, not herself, she compared whoever she's speaking about to the devil. Again, the devil is the king of evil. He's everything known, is everything wickedness, wickedness personified, evil personified. So she's saying that if I didn't know you, I would, or if you didn't even look at me, I would have not even danced with you. Again, it's still showing that whoever she's speaking with, or whoever she's speaking about, literally has a lot of bad habits, a lot of horrible attributes that would make her compare him to the devil. And I love the fact that at 19, and again, I actually, one thing I love with this song, or actually this poem, is the way it's actually sang. You know, kind of like they start out like the sentence started, and I'm damn sure I would have never danced with the devil. That you could stop there, but if you draw, come over to the next line, at 19, and the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. So, the pain that, she had to go through, it was heaven. And again, I also want to talk about, the contrast between this God, at first, the fact that Taylor used devil in this line, and, just 2 lines later, she uses the word God, the God's honest truth. I love that God's honest truth, the God's honest truth. Again, more redundancy. If she could have just said the honest truth, the God's truth. But putting the God's honest truth kind of like I said, it's redundant in a way. But the reason for me, the reason why she's using the God's honest truth is because to try and lay emphasis that this is the truth. And what was the truth? That the pain that you caused me was heaven. Again, let's keep going. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapon. And now that I know, I wish you left me wondering. And so let's talk, yo. So she said, and now that I'm grown, so again, I love the fact that we didn't even get to talk about this. The fact that all this happened to her probably when she was age 19. But now that she has grown, she's scared of ghosts. What do you think this ghost represents? For me, the ghost represents, her past, the relationship she had with this man, this horrible, awful, this awful man, now that she has grown, she has outgrown it. Those memories, those ghosts, those pasts, she's scared of it. She doesn't want to revisit them. And the memories feel like weapon. I love that comparison here. She used like to compare memories to weapons. So memories feels like weapons. So those things are literally the memories of the relationship are haunting her head. It feels like weapon. I don't know. I so love that. I love that line actually, in the fact that she's saying memories feels like weapon. Memories feel like weapon. It's again the past. She doesn't want to go back to the past. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. If you never touched me, I would have gone along with the righteous. If I never blushed, then they could have never whispered about this. And if you never saved me from boredom, I could have gone on as I was. But Lord, you made me feel important, and then you tried to erase us. So let's talk. Again, if you never touched me, I would have gone. Again, That line seems very, the touch. A touch can be romantic. If you never touched me, if you never caressed me, I would have gone along with the righteous. So again, is the speaker saying that the other guy that she's talking about, she's saying that the person is not good enough? It could be, to go along with the righteous. She could have followed men who had better qualities, better characters than this speaker. If you never touched me, I would have just followed them. I would have not even cared about you. I would have just gone along with them. If I never blushed, then you could have never whispered. Okay, they could have never whispered about this. Again, who is they? Who is they? I believe they is, her friends, her colleagues, her family. And again, why do you think they say they could have never whispered about it? Again, if I had never blushed, what does it mean to blush? With fair skin, when someone blushes, the cheek turns red. And why do people blush? People blush because of, for one thing, they could be surprised. They could be, somebody said something very dear dear about them to them, and they are blushing. And again, there's this expression that at least Nigerians use when they just say, I'm blushing. There was this comedy that I once watched. I've forgotten his name though. I've forgotten the name of the comedy channel. So is it a channel? I don't. So I think it was Instagram that I saw it. I'm blushing, something like that. You know, people blush when like I said, when somebody says something very dear to them, you know, and if someone is talking to you and you are blushing, it kind of means that you are having feeling for him, and it's external. The fact that your cheeks grow red, it's external. It's something everybody can see. Do you understand? It's something everybody can see. And so she's saying that, if I never blushed, they wouldn't have whispered about this. This is our relationship. They wouldn't have talked about it. They wouldn't have spread rumors about it. They wouldn't have whispered about it. And if you never saved me from boredom, I could have gone on as I was. But Lord, you made me feel important and then tried to erase us. I love this Lord. I love this Lord. I love this Lord. Again, Taylor, before Taylor literally, or the speaker compared him, like whoever is speaking to, the devil, where she said, and I'm damn sure I would have never danced with the devil. But now she's no longer doing that. She's saying, now she's comparing to Lord God Almighty. That is, I don't know, that feels very, very like holy, very holy. So she said, if you never saved me from boredom, I just could have gone on as I was. I love that parallelism. If you never touched me, I would have gone along with the righteous. This time is I would have gone on as I was. But Lord, you made me feel important, and then you try to erase us. You have try and I love this us. I love this us. You try to erase both of us, the relationship we had. You try to make it, feel like it's not important. That's what for me. That's what Taylor said. Let's continue. Oh, you're a crisis of my fate. Would have, could have, should have. If I'd only played it safe, I would have stayed on my knees, and I'm damn sure never would have danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm scared, now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghosts. Memories feel like weapon. And now that I wish you left me wondering. Oh, this poem is quite long. Anyway, anyway, let's keep going. So again, so she said you're a crisis of my faith. What does it mean to be a crisis of your faith? For me, what that line could represent would, okay, let's talk. For me, being a crisis of your faith, probably you don't actually like the person. And I must say, I would say the speaker did actually like the person. I must say that the speaker did like the person, but she being a crisis of my faith, you know, the speaker saying that you are a crisis of my faith. somebody you don't want to relate with, somebody you don't probably the you don't want to relate with this person, you don't want to love this person, you don't want to be with this person, and then but when this person comes into the room, maybe he has very good qualities, maybe he's very, has awesome facial features and all those stuff, awesome, stuff, and then you just, your legs just give way, and you just feel, oh, this is made for me, that kind of stuff. So for me, that's what that line says or meant when she says, "Oh, you are a crisis of my faith. Would have, could have, should have, if I'd only played it safe." Before, what did she say? I think before she said, um, if you'd never looked my way. That was what she said before. Would have, could have, should have, if you'd never looked my way. This time is would have, could have, should have, if I'd only played it safe. If I'd only played it safe. So if I had only played the relationship safe, is that what she's trying to say? I think so. I would have never stayed on my. I would have stayed on my knees and before. And I think before it was, I would have gone on my knees if I'm not mistaken. I would have stayed. Okay, I would have stayed on my knees. Okay. So I would have stayed on my knees and I'm down. I think we've talked about this, and I'm damn sure I would have never danced with the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth was being. I think we've talked about this, and now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghost memories. Feels like weapons, and now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. Anyway, we've talked about those two lines. It's kind of a repeat. It's a repeat actually. So let's keep going. God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Stained glass window in my mind. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you all the time. So let's continue. Again, like I said, the writer, who in this case, who is Taylor Swift, she actually used a lot of um used a lot of religious imagery, because I love this stained glass window in my mind. It's for a lot of for a lot of purposes. Most churches, especially Catholic churches, they use stained glass windows. This is a classic example. So this no this I think this is just for a house. But like a stained glass window, it looks something like this. Sometimes we just put a saint, maybe Saint John Bosco or Saint Matthew or Saint Augustine. They just shall use it to line the windows of the church. It gives this religious feel, because for me a lot of, especially like I said, especially Catholic churches, they use it a lot. Most Catholic churches, if there's no stained glass window, then it's not a church most of the time. At least most of the churches I've been to, they usually have stained glass windows. So like I said, it's giving this. She's using a lot of religious imagery. She's used God, she's used devil, she's used. I'm surprised she has not used one saint. But anyway, so God rest my soul. God, please help me forget about this person. I miss I used to be. I missed how I felt without this person. And then the tomb won't close. I love that, symbolism of, the tomb. The tomb for me represents the death of their relationship. But the relationship has died, but and she has buried it, she has put it into the tomb, she's about to bury it, but the tomb won't close. The tomb won't close. She's still reminiscing about what happened in the relationship. Stained glass windows in my mind, everything is kind of etched to the window of her mind. It's etched. It's painted to the window of her mind. The whole relationship that happened reminds me of one of Lord's Lord's song, Supercut, where in Supercut, written by Lord, it's actually a song, one of my favorite songs written by Lord, where in the song there was literally a film reel of the relationship just speeding past the speaker's eyes, just everything past her eyes, everything, the relationship of everything that happened past her eyes. But this one in Taylor's writing says that the whole relationship was etched to the windows of her mind. It remained there, it refused to go, the stained glass window of her mind. The 2 months close. She's still reminiscing. She's still like reminiscing about the whole saga that went on. I regret you all the time. I regret knowing you. Again, it still reminds me of that place where she said, if I had closed, if you closed your eyes, I would have turned away. If I was a child, it didn't matter. I used to pray. I just pray that you didn't know me. If you never looked my way. So this time I am regretting. I regret knowing you because you had very horrible. You had a very you had a very horrible side. So I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. The wound won't close. I love that. Again, the fact that she's fighting with this person in her sleep, in my sleep, that's in her sleep. She's still thinking about this person. It's suggesting that the person is trying haunting her dreams and all those kind of stuff. I can't let this go. I can't let go of the relationship. Still going back to the fact that the tomb of the relationship won't close. The fact that the whole relationship was etched to her mind. Those kind of stuff. I can't. I keep on waiting for a sign. I regret you again. I love that the fact that she said the wound won't close. Again, before it was the tomb won't close, but this time it says the wound won't close. The wound being, the wound closing. A wound is a kind of like, you know, the wound from the relationship won't close. It won't heal. It's still there. She's still looking at it. She doesn't know how to let go of it. And I love the fact that she called it a wound. A wound is horrible. A wound is destructive. A wound can give you, you can get an infection from a wound. As saying that the wound won't close. The wound from the relationship will not close. It doesn't want to close. It's still haunting her dreams every time she goes. I regret you all the time. Let's keep going. If clarity is in debt, then why won't this die? Years of tearing down a banner, you and I living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. Give me back my girlhood, it was mine first. And I'm damn sure never would have danced to the devil at 19. And the God's honest truth is that the pain was heaven. And now that I'm grown, I'm scared of ghost memories feel like weapons. And now that I know, I wish you'd left me wondering. So let's talk. Let's talk about this. Again, she's saying if clarity is in debt, you know, why won't this die? If clarity is in debt, again, from what do you think that line could represent? For me, that line represents, when someone dies, at least most stories that I've read or most books that I've read, when someone dies, his whole life or the life flashes past his eyes. When he's about to die, usually, person just like quickly, like the whole rundown of how he lived his life, usually, and just speed past his vision, everything. So she's saying that if, and it's kind of clear, at that point, you feel, and I'll say if you've done well, you kind of feel, it's likely that I'll go to heaven. But if you've done horrible, you'll be having this second thought of dying, this kind of stuff. So he's saying if clarity is in death, then why won't this die? Why won't our relationship die? If I'm supposed to see clearly of how this relationship was, whether it was good for me or not, then why won't the relationship die? Why do I keep going on? I cannot accept the relationship because the relationship is already dead. But why won't the memories of the relationship die? Years of tearing down our banners, you and I living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. I love that, years of tearing down our banners, you display it for the whole world to see. Again, years of tearing down our relationship, the banners will represent the relationship, the whole everything that is going on. Years of doing all those, tearing it down, making sure it doesn't, it's not actually, it's not, what word should I use for it? Years of Sha trying to sabotage, it's years of sabotaging the relationship, you and I living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. I love that. Living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts. Assonance, the repetition of living, you know, thrill, hitting, it, you know, those repetition of the E sound. I'm actually living for it. So she's saying living for the thrill of hitting you where it hurts, probably where it's kind of like your chest, your rib, your chest, you know, kind of like I have that thrill. I was living for that thrill of it, and again, it kind of shows volume of, I would say, the kind of psychotic nature of this whole relationship. The fact that you are living, you literally live for that. It gives you strength to live. You literally live for that action, hitting someone where it hurts, where it pains the person the most. So it's that kind of stuff. I don't know. I would say I don't condone it. Or if I had an ex like that, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I would be able to survive. And I love this line. Oh God, it's one of my favorites. This line, like this poem from this poem, where she said, "Give me back my girlhood. It was mine first." Even in the song, when Taylor sang it, she was literally like she sang in a very angry tone, with a very angry voice. Give me back my girlhood. It was mine first. Give me again that girlhood. Girlhood symbolizes, your childhood. Give me back my childhood. Give me back my, and girls and children are usually innocent. So give me back my innocence. It was mine first. Give me back my innocence. I don't even. It was. I don't know. I wouldn't have loved to know you because my innocence was mine first. Give it back to me. So the man took away, or the boyfriend took away the whoever is speaking, the innocence of the girl, or the lady. So give me back my innocence. Give me back my girlhood. Give me back everything. Give it back to me. It was mine first. It's not yours. So I think we've gone over this line, and I'm damn sure we would never have danced with the devil at 19. I think we've talked a lot about this. God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. Okay, let's see. I'm not sure. Okay. God rest my tomb. The tomb won't close. Stained glass window. I regret you all the time. I can't let this go. I fight with you. The wound won't close. I keep on waiting. Oh God rest my soul. I love this. Oh God rest my soul. I miss who I used to be. The tomb won't close. I can't let this go. I fight with you in my sleep. Okay. I think okay. So the remainder of the verses, Taylor literally like repeated. I need this to go. I need this to die. I need this to die. I need this relationship to die. I need this relationship to die. Please let it die. Please let it die. Kind of, she's insisting. She wants this relationship to die. It was the worst. God rest my soul. Why won't this wound close? Why won't this tomb close? Why is this stained glass window in my mind? I regret it all the time. So the fact that she's repeating it to kind of emphasize, how horrible, how awful this relationship was. So anyway, so long story short, for me, I would say this song talks about, a relationship gone bad. It was nice at the beginning, but now it is the absolute worst. Anyway, so that is all I can say about Would Have, Could Have, Should Have, written by Taylor Swift. It's actually a very fun song to listen to, and please, I implore you to actually listen to the song. It's very. Abi, I should please. I don't want copyright. I don't want copyright, but oh god, I don't think I'll include that music for sake of copyright claims. But I'm in love. I would say listen to this song. It's actually a very good song. Not only is it, dense with filled it. I know we didn't get to actually do a full dive into some of the literary devices that Taylor was using. I was just trying to talk about, what for me, what the song means. But God, I still love it. It's filled with a lot of fun details, and not only that, it's actually a great bop. I don't think I'll include this song, but still, I would say if you try and listen to the music, I don't think okay, it doesn't have a music video though, but it's such a good song. Anyway, so this was Would Have, Could Have, and Should Have, written by Taylor Swift. This is my honest reaction. If you enjoyed it, consider liking, sharing, and commenting, and I will see you next time. I remain Matthew Augustine. Bye.